who are we gonna be playing as? We're gonna be the Justice League for that. You're gonna be able to play as Superman, Batman, Flash, and Green Lantern. Oh no, you're gonna kill them. And you're gonna play as the like ragtag group of villains that they had to make 2 movies about to get it right the second
Yeah, that's
time.
true. It
I
took,
mean,
took
like,
the
oh
test.
my god, Harley's not even gonna have her same outfit. That people know and love. We're gonna have a gaff about that. That didn't really offend me that much, but it's kind of all just going towards the same thing of like, why did they do this? And I mean, we know the answer, right, Brian? Like, it's because 5 years ago when Fortnite was
Games as
popping
service.
off, and
Yeah,
and
everything's got to be
Destiny
that.
was the hotness. It was like, oh, that's where the money is, and
And
they're
there was.
too
They were right.
they're too late. Like they missed the boom, they missed the window, and nobody wanted this, and they know
Yeah.
that, and they tried.
Especially, yeah. Especially there's a games as a fatigue. Like
Yeah,
games as a service, there is a level of fatigue that people have been experiencing. And Shelley brings up a good point, talking about like wanting to play like Grand Blue, et cetera. And like that's for me where like when I look at what's holding me back from this game is like, well, this is interesting, right? But this isn't a game that's just like there's nothing. It's not like there's nothing else out to enjoy.
it
So
doesn't
what?
demand your time. Like, it doesn't eat at you.
Like I have to play this to experience the
yeah, I
story.
don't want to
Oh, the
say like
story's already
Elden
leaked
Ring,
online.
because that's not even fair. But what like maybe Monster Hunter World. Like, when I was playing Monster Hunter World when it came out,
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know if this is like super good. And then I figured out that it was super good because I was still in college at that time, when I was in class, and I was like, I want to play Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's when you know that a video game is good, because it has you. And like this game, like when I'm not playing it, I'm not like, oh man, I really want to get back to Suicide Squad. It's more like
Hmm.
I'm thinking in my head, like, gosh, why can't I find the fun in Suicide Squad? Like, where I know it's there. Like,
There
I can
is fun.
tell that it's
I have
there.
I've had fun, like especially with the combat, and like the characters, and that's actually like a good, kind of question I'd like you to get to is like what characters were your highlights and what were like the lowlights. You already kind of were knocking on Boomerang for his accent and delivery, but
See,
like
I really like Boomerang's gameplay
yeah.
too. So, yeah, Boomerang has like one of the coolest. This is the screen where like if you're multiplayer, then you would see like everybody and like your ranks and scores at the end. Like,
Mhm.
so Harley would have done the best, by the way. For sorry, auto listeners, I'm reacting to the gameplay that we have. But as far as Boomerang and the other characters, Boomerang's traversal mechanic is really really cool. That is one area where the game really shines, is like the traversal of all of these characters is very distinct between them. The gunplay can feel very similar, the melee even can feel similar. They're a little bit different, but the
Mhm.
traversal specifically is sort of what defines each character. I will say, as a knock, other than Deadshot, I guess. Like, I don't find the traversal in concept incredibly intriguing. Like, Harley's traversal isn't even her own. She just literally steals some of Batman's equipment from the
Mhm.
Hall of Justice. So, like, I'm looking forward to the Joker when he comes out, because he's gonna have like an umbrella that seems like pretty, iconic as far as he got. Like that, I believe that. Like, that's Joker.
Mhm.
Joker would fly around with an umbrella, spring loaded umbrella. Like, that seems cool. Deadshot, obviously the jetpack. That's cool. Boomerang like steals a speed gauntlet that basically like makes him the Flash. Thankfully,
Yeah.
we got the Justice League outfit, so I just made him the Flash. So like when
Yeah.
I'm playing as him, I'm just LARPing as like Flash, JV Team Flash. Like,
There we go.
I'm like B Team Flash. I'm not as good. I'm like Flash in training, and he can kind of like warp around the map and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's probably one of the best teleport mechanics that I've encountered in a game, because most of the time when you get a teleport mechanic, you kind of get that like you're visualizing like ahead of you, like where you're gonna jump to. Like, it gives you like a little blip, and then you jump there. This is like he literally throws the boomerang out, and it has like a trail behind it, and it goes and goes and goes and goes. And when you let go of it, there's like a pause, and then you just immediately like lurch forward right to that position. It kind of reminds me of another WB game, Shadow of Mordor, where you could like target an enemy, and he
Mhm.
would zip over to the enemy and like decapitate them or whatever, and you can like chain it into combos. This isn't quite that fluid because you have full control the entire time, but it is very cool how you send the boomerang out and you go right to it. So one of my favorite things to do is just send it right into a group of enemies, and then I'm on top of them and I'm just messing them up with
Yeah.
boomerang. Um, I wish that the melee for these characters, like the animations are so cool, and yet it's so obvious that this is a shooter and you're not supposed to melee because it does no
Even
damage
melee was
compared to the
shooting. Like
gun.
I was playing, Deadshot,
With
and it's like
Deadshot, yeah.
his melee is I'm shooting you with more guns. Like, okay, cool.
But the melee mechanic is really just to get stuns and to recharge your shield. Like that's basically it. It's not a viable way of combat. And like,
Right.
I'm thinking like Arkham, I'm like trying to keep meleeing and it's like not doing anything. And I'm like, oh, I gotta switch it. I go to my gun, I just delete everybody. It's like it's definitely a shooter. Um and then yeah, as far as traversal goes, like Deadshot, you played the majority of time with Deadshot. So how did you feel about the jetpack? Because
Oh, it's
I
great.
really like it, and I like that you can hover, but it's like I don't know. It's the same thing with Harley too. Like see like for our visual viewers, like you can see with Harley, there's like a bar that fills up, and like once
Mhm.
it's filled up, you can't use your traversal ability anymore. It's the same with Deadshot, like his
Yeah.
jetpack,
You
like
got
it
to touch
fills up or
ground
whatever.
or touch either a wall or ground. I honestly don't have any complaints about the traversal. I've played with all the 4 characters and all their different traversal methods. I think you're right. Boomerang is the coolest one because it's got that speed force aspect, and you're just like zipping along. But the jetpack I found to be actually quite enjoyable, especially when you start comboing all of your traversal methods together, because you can cool off your jetpacks, you can do a double jump, you can just touch ground, and then you're right back into it. And so that for me is something where I've been trying to challenge myself to get as much airtime as possible. But then when doing that, when traversing through the city, I'm skipping over enemies. And so the gamer in me is like, should I go and, kill those enemies? Because maybe there's loot. And
No,
and
because
so
they're all the
right,
same. There's no enemy
they're just
variety
roving.
whatsoever. They're all like the same 3 aliens. And that's the thing, like you're still having a lot of fun, just like I was at hour 3, 4, 5. Because like you everything's novel for you still, and the gameplay is really, really good. Like you're on PC, I think, so you're not playing with a PlayStation 5 controller, right?
No, I'm playing with the Xbox
Okay.
controller, and also I'm playing on my Logitech G Cloud. So I've been playing this game also in handheld mode, just trying to get more experience with it. And it like the controls work great, and the handheld version of this game works great.